Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today, the postman delivered to me issues 79 and 80 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. That is the final 2 issues, and it reminded me that I hadn't yet taken a look at issues 75 through 78. So we are rectifying that today. We're going to review all 4 issues in one big bumper episode. And the main reason we're doing that is because all 4 of these issues contain components to build one single vehicle, the Repulsor tank. First of all, of course, if you do not know what Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine is, where the heck have you been? We're at the end of a very long road. This is a Partworks publication from Hachette Publishing in association with Games Workshop. It comes out every week priced at $7.99 and serves as an introduction to the world of Warhammer 40,000. Every week you get a magazine and you also get either some hobby supplies such as paints and brushes or miniatures. Like I said, this set of magazines all comes together to provide a single Repulsor tank, a huge Primaris Marine vehicle. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the sprues that came with the issues. At first, it may seem a little bit cheeky that they have split up a single vehicle across 4 issues, but a Repulsor tank is massive. So what they did was, with issues 75, 76 and 77, they gave you one frame from a set of 3. And then for issue 78, they gave you... well, we'll look at that in a moment. So this was the first frame. Well, actually, I can't quite remember which order they came in, but this was one of 3. And you can see it's a big chunk of plastic kit. And it should be noted this is a straight up repulsor. It's not a repulsor executioner, and it's not an impulsor. The Primaris Marines really need to come up with better names. Obviously, beautifully detailed. Lots of big flat sections, and then lots of little exhaust pipes, other bits and bobs. We've got frame 2, which has got some side bits, the chassis here, lots of bits that all look a bit samey, things that are not particularly exciting on their own. And then this is the 3rd and final frame, which has all of the various guns and also the Primaris gunner. We've got a... look at the hourglass figure on him. Where is the head? There's the head. Oh, choice of heads. We've got helmet, non-helmet. Leave in the comments your guess for which one I will be choosing. A fun game for my regular subscribers. Lots of big guns. So there we go, those are the 3 frames. But, like I said, they split this vehicle up over 4 issues. So, with our final issue, we got... the base. Ooh, yeah, just the base. It is worth noting, if you are picking up these magazines separately in a store or wherever, do not just purchase issue 78. You will not get good value for your $7.99. But I'm actually being a little bit unfair. You didn't just get the base. You also got this. No, this isn't a little pill pot. This is actually a little clear plastic thing to make the repulsor look like it's flying or hovering. And this is quite nifty, if I can show you. That's the position you want it if you want your craft to look like it is floating along. And you can also twist it like so. And then it's angled, so you can make it look like your repulsor is rising up to go over the top of something. That's pretty neat, isn't it? It's not $7.99 of neat, but it's neat. So there you have it, 4 issues worth of cool plastic stuff. So much plastic stuff that I cannot fit it all in shot at one point. If you were to go into a Warhammer store and purchase a Repulsor box set, you would pay £50. Obviously, Warhammer 40,000 Conquest is $7.99 an issue, so spread over 4 issues you are paying £31.96, which means over retail price you are making a saving of £18.04, which is creeping up on a 40% discount, which is huge. It's a really good value. Despite being broken up across 4 issues, it's still really good value, as long as you get all 4 issues. If you miss an issue for whatever reason, you are left with frames of stuff that you can't do anything with. So if you're picking up individual issues for this rather than subscribing, make sure you get at least the first 3. You can make do without the little hover base thing, I guess, and make a scenic base instead, but at least get the first 3. But let's take a quick look at the magazines themselves. Now, if I don't want this video to go on forever, I'm going to have to blitz through these quite quickly, so bear with me. Buckle up. If you've been following this series on my channel, you will know that these magazines always follow a similar pattern. We have some fluff at the start, and the pages come out, but we've got our classic top trump style stat chart for a Repulsor. Some cool artwork. A little breakdown of the Repulsor gear. I don't actually really know anything about the Repulsor vehicles. I'm quite glad I have one. It's going to be a project that I won't get around to for some time. It's going to sit in a box, I should imagine, for quite some time, because it is a big chunk of vehicle, and I tend to play games that are more on the skirmish side of the army sizes, so a Repulsor is probably a little bit of overkill. Little data file on all of the Repulsor bits and bobs, and then some more background on the Wars of Iron. And this magazine is completely falling to bits, but do not worry, you will see that it is hole punched, and that is because this magazine is designed to break apart and fit into ring binders. We have an Invicta tactical warsuit, and then some stuff on making a Silver Templar. I wonder if that's the same information that was in the Codex. They did a Codex, which was a separate purchase. Subscribers could opt in or out of as they so desired, and I'm wondering if that's recycled content. I'm pretty sure that image, if nothing else, was in the Codex. A little bit more on becoming Silver Templar. And then we have the Forces of the Eldari. Obviously, this issue, being the first of 4 in which you're getting a kit that builds up over time, they're front-loading this with quite a lot of fluff, because there's not going to be painting guides or anything in here at the moment, because you're not going to have a complete miniature to paint. They're obviously going to hold off on that particular content. Showcase of Eldari bits and bobs, and then we have, oh, this is cool, a section on chapter relics. So they're including some information on various different relics that, if you're including a warlord, you can include some relics. What have we got? The Armor Indomitus, the Standard of the Emperor Ascendant, the Tome of Malcador, the Santic Halo, the Burning Blade, the Primarch's Wrath. All good names, all good heroic names for things. But over the page we've got some stuff for Death Guard too. This is cool. This is nice to have this stuff. This is extra flavour that you can add into your forces when you're creating them. You've got a Plague Bringer, the Suppurating Plate. I wasn't expecting them to include anything like relics, so it's good to see them. Of the Pandemic Staff, the Dolorous Knell, the Plague Skull of Glothilla, and Fugarus's helm. We've got a little little diagram here of the separating plate in action. Look, it's firing snot all over the Ultramarines. That's nice. Cool. Interesting to have that in there. And then we have a raid on a Medicaid facility. This is a new scenario. It says supply crates and shattered equipment litter the ruins of the Medicaid facility. The Ultramarine Strike Force must secure as much medical equipment as possible and return it to Borachius. The Death Guard seek only to destroy and corrupt these valuable supplies and ensure that disease and death spread. So set up your battlefield. Each player places objective markers. They're 6 inches from the battlefield edge. Both players use a battle-forged army with a maximum power rating of 50. It's a victory point for eliminating an enemy unit. A victory point for being the first player to eliminate a unit. 1 victory point for eliminating a warlord. And 1 victory point for each objective marker you control. Game lasts 5 battle rounds. Pretty much pitch battle with objectives. Standard stuff. Obviously no mention of the repulsor for this mission, because what would be the point in including it? You can't use the thing yet. And that's it. That's the end of that particular issue. Let's go straight on to issue 76. Once again, we are starting with a little bit of fluff, this time on Space Marine Tech Marines. And once again, my magazine's falling to bits as soon as I took it out of the pack. And then that's it. 2 pages of fluff, and then we are into our build instructions. As a subscriber, I get all 4 issues in a bundle, which works out better. But if you're subscribing week on week, at this point you would only have 2 issues worth of components, so you'd still be missing a whole frame. But I guess in the 3rd issue they're going to have the painting guide. So they're putting the build instructions here, and it is a big chunky tank, so I'm assuming this is going to take up a lot of the magazine. So we're just going to whiz through this because I can't imagine it's going to be very interesting to look at me flicking through a great big Lego guide. Look at all the bits. This is obviously the most complicated build that they have given us so far. It is a good way to start wrapping up the whole subscription. It's an interesting way to do it. They've been giving us all of the stuff to create 2 armies, and then right at the end they go, here's a big kit of stuff. Yeah, weapon options and little bits and bobs, different options, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on, and this is literally the whole magazine. And there we go. There's our finished thing. And there's the instructions on that little plastic floaty thing that I showed you, so you can change it so you can make it look like your vehicle is banking or ascending. Good stuff. I'm not 100% sold on the look of the Repulsor. I know that all Space Marine vehicles are a bit big and clunky looking. This one seems perhaps a little bit overblown. I don't know. I prefer things like Rhinos and Lamb Raiders. And then we have, what have we got here? Nowhere to Run. It's a scenario. They've stuffed a scenario at the end. Again, at this point, you still haven't got a functional repulsor tank, so I'm assuming they're not including it again in this scenario. Scorn Asunder. The Death Guard forces advancing on Scorn have already penetrated the city limits and are heading for the Central Plaza and the Space Marines operating base. They must capture this position. We have the 3 battle mats again, which has been a standard for quite some time now with the magazine, but deployment on the corners. Both players place 2 objective markers, roll off to see who places the first. They must be placed more than 6 inches from a battlefield edge and more than 8 inches from each other. 2 battle-forged armies, maximum power rating 40. Victory points for eliminating an enemy unit, having a unit in the enemy deployment zone at the end of the game, controlling an objective marker. Game lasts 5 battle rounds. So pretty standard again, nothing new or particularly exciting there, but just another battle to play through. And that's the issue, that's it. We're straight on to issue 77. We're starting the issue with a little bit of fluff on Devastator squads. Look at these guys. Look at these guys causing bother. The biggest weapons on the battlefield. And then we have Centurion Devastator squads. Data files for the various war gear. And then, company organization. We have a little bit more on company organization. And then a little bit on Necrons. Not really had a lot on Necrons throughout the magazine. In fact, this could well be the first mention of them. But there they are. Looking busy. Waking up with a hangover and off in search of coffee across the galaxy. Look at this thing. Look at this Catan shard. What an awesome miniature that is. But there we go. We're done with that sort of nonsense. It's time to build our repulsor. And of course, by this stage, if you're getting the magazine week on week, you have the 3 frames now, so you can build the whole repulsor itself. You just can't stick it on the floaty base yet. So you've got all the bits you need to assemble and paint the main thing. And they're going to do a pretty in-depth painting guide. They've given you all of the tips and tricks and paints you need at this point. The painting guides are always very good, very detailed. Really good images, and they've got most of the magazine just to step through every little detail of this vehicle. Look, there's 2 pages on just painting the Tech Marine Gunner. It's very, very comprehensive. You can't really complain about that. And there it is, all put together. Looking massive and beastly and a little bit intimidating. Unless you're Death Guard. You aren't intimidated by anything if you're Death Guard. And then we have another mission, a crash landing. What have we got here? Oh look, they're putting the repulsor in the middle of the battlefield. A damaged Ultramarines repulsor transport lies amidst the remains of a crashed transport craft. The Death Guard and the Ultramarines must hold off their opponents long enough to recover the vehicle and make their escape with it. Roll off, starting with the winner. Take turns placing battle mats in the layout shown above. Set up the terrain in an agreed manner. The repulsor transport serves as the objective. That's clever, because obviously you haven't got the base or the floaty stand at the moment, so they're using it as an objective rather than as a part of an army. Place the repulsor in the middle of the board. The repulsor tank cannot move or fire any of its weapons during this game, so it is literally just a fancy piece of terrain at this stage. Well, that's a good way of introducing it and using it without having actually included the data sheet with all of the stats and things yet. So it gives you an opportunity that if you are getting the magazine week on week, you can still use your built and assembled vehicle, even though you don't have all of the bits that you need to actually use it in your army. Clever. I like that. It's a good idea. Battleforged Army, maximum power rating of 50. Eliminate an enemy unit, 1 victory point. The first player to eliminate an enemy unit gets 1 victory point. Eliminate a warlord is 1 victory point. Control the objective is 3 victory points. Game lasts 5 battle rounds. So it is pretty much run and gun, hold the objective. And that's it. That's the whole issue. So issue 78 is going to be a little bit of a weird issue all round. It obviously only comes with the plastic base and the little floaty stand. We've already had the build instructions. We've already had the paint instructions. We're going to have a data sheet in here so that we can use the repulsor in our armies. But I guess the rest of it's just going to be more fluff. And in fact, we start with fluff on the Inquisition. And can I just say, all 4 of these magazines literally fell apart in my hands as I took them out of the pack. These videos are kind of a first look for me. I literally just set the camera up and looked through the magazine with the camera running. So these have just come out of the pack and are already falling to bits. So as the subscription has gone on, they've obviously reduced the amount of glue that they use. We've got, oh, look at this. We have the old Assassinorum gang. These are the 4 assassins that feature in Assassinorum Execution Force, a very, very good game that I intend to be showcasing on the channel at some point. I've been saying it for a little while. It has been difficult to do because unusual circumstances recently, but something I do hope to get to very, very soon is a deep dive into Assassinorum Execution Force and what these cool characters get up to. We have the Calidus, the Eversaw. The Eversaw is the assassin that got Army of One rules in Blackstone Fortress. If you subscribe to White Dwarf magazine or you buy the issues that have Blackstone Fortress content, you probably have already seen that character in action. The Vindicator is my favourite. I would have rather have seen rules for him in White Dwarf rather than the Eversaw. And then we have the Calexus. Sisters of Silence. I actually have a unit of Sisters of Silence because they came in the box game Burning of Prospero, which was not one of Games Workshop's best boxed games, but came with some really cool miniatures. It came with a squad of Adeptus Custodes, and yeah, some Sisters of Silence, a couple of cool characters, and lots of Heresy era Marines. What else have we got? We've got a showcase of cool miniatures. Yeah, we're just filling an issue at this point. We'll just showcase some different stuff. Feculent Narmals. Yeah, it's just anything now. Just whatever. What can we chuck on the page just to fill it up? There's the Impulsor, which is not a repulsor. It's a different vehicle. Little bit on the Storm Raven gunships. Chunky flying beasties that they are. A little bit on McCrack, the 13th Black Crusade. We really are. We're all over the place now. We're just dotting here and there throughout time and space, picking up little bits of detail as we go. And then we are into a mission. We have a battle in no man's land. To defeat their foes, both armies will have to bring their heavy weapons to bear upon the enemy. Certain areas of the battlefield offer clear fields of fire. The army that controls the greater number of these positions will be able, I'll put my tongue back in, to rain down terrible punishment upon their foes. So, looks like we're just doing a big massed battle with all of the vehicles. Rolling Thunder. It says both sides are attempting to gain control of the no man's land between their lines. The attacks are being led by vehicles bristling with heavy weapons. For the attack to succeed, these big guns must seize key positions on the battlefield and crush the enemy's heavy armour. Roll off and starting with the winner, take turns placing battle mats in the layout shown above. Remember to ensure that terrain is placed in a way that allows vehicle models to move across the battlefield. One player selects an army of Death Guard miniatures, the other player selects an army of Space Marine miniatures. Maximum power rating 60. Yeah, and just use some vehicles. Both players gain 3 victory points for each enemy vehicle unit they destroy. Control an objective marker for 3 victory points. The first player to eliminate an enemy unit is 1 victory point. Enemy warlord slain is 1 victory point. The game lasts 5 battle rounds. Just a pitched battle, really. Just dropping enemy vehicles. As many as you can. A big, heavy armor fight. And then here we have our data sheet for the Repulsor with all of its different war gear options. It's a big complicated sheet for a big complicated vehicle. And I think that is it. It's blank on the back so that you can use it without worrying about ruining anything else. And then here's some people having a fun time playing Warhammer 40,000. This could be you. And we're there. Look at this, 79 and 80. Terrain. We are finishing the series with a big old chunk of Magnavent Walkway. Really good terrain pieces that were first introduced in Shadow War Armageddon, the blink and you will miss it skirmish game, which was really quite good. But there we go. That is a very quick look at 4 issues of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, issues 75 through 78. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up some prices. This is the price of subscribing to the magazine at the full cover price of $7.99 an issue versus the price of purchasing all of the cover products at full retail price, not taking into account anything like online discounts, but also not taking into account the value of the magazine itself. And hopefully some people will find that interesting. Thank you so much for listening. If you are still listening at this point, I really do appreciate it. I know this has been quite a slog to get through this many issues in one go. But if you have liked the video, please consider pressing that like button. If you have really liked the video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.